Women in Focus, a podcast by British Naturism. Hello and welcome to Women in Focus, a podcast brought to you by British Naturism. I'm your host Helen Berryman, and today we bring you episode 30. So May is upon us, and as every year we have Naked Gardening Day. I hope that you all get involved. It's a good way of getting outdoors, doing our bit for the environment and just being at one with nature. Today, this podcast is brought to you from sunny Somerset. Some of you may know that Simon and I have moved house. We've made the transition from London. I've got my own little podcasting room in our new house and lots of boxes still to be unpacked. But I'm inside doing this and unpacking boxes. So what else is going on at British Naturism? It's May, the weather is nice. But yeah, festival-wise, what's going on? So coming up, we have NKD Festival. That's down in Poole in Dorset. That is on the 23rd to the 27th of May. Tickets available on our website. And so much coming up now that the season's upon us. We've got Nude Fest, we've got Everybody Festival. There's plenty of naked heart walks to get involved with, all the while raising money for British Heart Foundation. So not only can you get in nature, you'll also be helping raise money for a very worthy cause and meeting some fantastic people along the way. Today's episode is a really rather special one for me personally. I know I say that every month, but I'm blessed to meet so many incredible women, and today's guest is no exception. I've actually witnessed part of her journey from the very beginning. We first met on the very first ladies only clothing optional holiday, and at that point my guest was in her very first year of discovering naturism, navigating all the feelings that come with it, curiosity, nerves, excitement, and that quiet question of, is this really for me? So fast forward to now, and my guest has gone on to take on the Director Without Portfolio role at British Naturism. So without further ado, let's welcome Steph Durbin. Welcome, Steph.
Thanks, Helen.
So lovely to have you here. Now, if I explain to everybody that we did first meet 2024. Yeah, which was our first ladies only clothing optional holiday. And as I alluded to into the introduction, you were quite new into naturism then, weren't you?
Very new.
Do you want to explain how you got into naturism, what propelled you to go on that holiday? And yeah, start from there, I guess.
Okay, I'll try and give you the potted version of this, but it won't be, because I'll just tell the same story that I tell everyone about this. So it was really down to my mum in the end. My mum and dad had been active naturists all their lives. They lived in the south of the UK, places like Slapton Sands and everything where they had kind of regular places to go. And when they retired, they spent 10 years travelling, I imagine, probably all the naturist clubs and beaches in Europe. And in 2022, my mum passed away. And in the few months before she did, we were able to have some really long, in-depth conversations about her experience of naturism and the places they'd been and what they'd done and the friends that they'd made. And after she passed away, I kind of had this sense in my life of really needing to find some kind of directional purpose. I'd lost her. I'd come out of a long-term relationship and just felt a little bit lost. So I kind of did some conscious work on myself and thought, right, what do I need to fill my life with to gain this sense of purpose? And one of them was about spending more time outdoors and in nature, and another one was new experiences. And there were two others, so I had four kind of categories. And it just came to me one night about the naturism stories that Mum had shared with me, and I thought, you know what, that would both satisfy the new experience bit that I was looking for, but also the outdoorsy bit. That was really important to me, the outdoors and nature and just being in the fresh air. So that was probably towards the end of 22. In February 23, the first thing I did before I did anything, I joined British Naturism. It was important to me to understand how in the UK, how it's treated, how it's perceived, how safe it is. And I was a single woman at that time, so that was particularly important for me. And BN gave me that kind of platform for me to be able to understand that, yeah, it is actually, I feel safe going into this. I looked up where local clubs were to me, and I'm in South Manchester, so there was actually about 5 that were equidistant from me. Liverpool, Lancashire, Manchester, Ashdene. One of them wouldn't let me go and visit because I was a single woman, which really surprised me.
Wow.
Really surprised me, yeah.
Don't name and shame.
I'm sure some of our members will be able to work it out because it's been talked about. And then I joined the Women in Naturism Facebook group because that also felt like another really safe place for me to get to know like-minded women and the themes and the conversations. And in there, somebody one day posted that if there was any women in that group that would like to have a visit to their club, they would happily take me as a day visitor so that I could explore. And that literally, I was actually camping really, really nearby at the time that week. And I was like, I'm going to grab that opportunity, and went along with this lady that I'd never met before. We met at Tesco's in the nearby town, and she was like really comforting, and she was like, you'll feel okay, you'll be fine. And she knew it was my first time actual social naturism. And we got changed, and I had my dressing gown on and she had hers on, and she said, I won't take my gown off unless you take your gown off. She said, just feel okay, and if you don't take it off, that's fine. She said, just feel comfortable. She said, we'll go for a walk around the site, see how it is. And within about 5 minutes, and it was a glorious day.
That helps.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's blue and everything. And within about 5 minutes, I think I'd seen like half a dozen naked people. And it was like, I had an effort moment. It was like, oh, that's it, robe's coming off, because it just felt right. And pretty much that robe's never gone back on in that place since, because it's just like, I found my place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the holiday. So that was in the May, and I think it was around the September that I saw the holiday being advertised for the following April. So I was still very new in. I don't literally only started a few months before, and that was another kind of spur of the moment. It was like, if I don't do it, I'll regret not doing it. So just do it. So I emailed in, booked it, paid the deposit, and then the rest now, as they say, is history. About to go on our 3rd women's holiday. Can't wait.
I can't wait.
5 weeks, 4 weeks?
4, I think. 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yes, I am too. And so with the First Lady's holiday, I mean, yes, I organised it, but I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how it would be with a whole bunch of women that I didn't know. And, we were going to be sharing apartments with women we didn't know. So I was nervous enough, yet I'd organised it. How did you feel about it?
So for me personally, the big thing for me wasn't the naturism at all. It was how I would fit in with other women that I'd never met.
Right.
I've had a career that was predominantly male orientated. So I've spent a lot of time with men in my working life. I only had sons, not daughters. So I never really spent too much time just hanging out with women only. And I was, what if they don't like me? Wasn't bothered about whether I like them or not. But they might not. They might not like me.
Yeah, it makes it a very long holiday if you don't get on with anyone.
Yeah. And then I can remember being met at the gate by this really bubbly lady, Helen. And then before we went, so I had this, I'd never even seen a photograph of you, I don't think, but I knew that you were the British Naturism women's officer.
Right.
So it was like this, we've got an official there. That'll be interesting. I've got to behave. And then we just clicked. And I think that literally that first day there was one of the ladies that joined us had never had a naturist experience. And she, on the spur of the moment, had booked a naturist holiday. And about half an hour after she arrived, she confided in me that this was the case and how was she going to feel. And she might not take her clothes off. And I said, it's absolutely fine. Just do what feels okay. Told her my story that I've just told the listeners. And we got back to the villa. And about 5 minutes later, she turned up at the poolside completely naked. She just went all in.
She did.
And it was just like such a privilege to see another lady in a situation similar to what I'd been in, just go for it and consequently have absolutely zero regrets about it.
I mean, she proper went for it. By day 2, she'd taken herself off to the beach on her own.
She had.
And we witnessed her journey, which was amazing to be part of. And, she came on the second holiday, but it's not the first time we've had that on these holidays. So last holiday, we had another newbie who's joining us again for this holiday. And it's very hard to verbalize why these holidays matter and what we get out of it. So that was 2 years ago, that first holiday. About to go on our third. Now, you've got proper stuck in since with Naturism. Tell us a little bit about some of the leadership roles that you've taken on, one at club level, and then you've elevated into your new role, Director Without Portfolio at British Naturism.
Which I shortened to DWP when I'm writing it down, but then I realised that's the Department for Work and Pensions. So I'm not going to keep doing that. I've had to explain to so many people, what does that mean? What does Director Without Portfolio mean? And it's quite interesting what people's perception of that is. We might come back to that. So me getting stuck in, yes. At club level, I put myself forward to be a director of the company that owns the club in October 24 and was accepted. There was a resignation, so there was a gap. So I got that. The purpose for doing that was because my club has got a 40-year history from a standing start, and I want to make sure that that club's still there in another 40 years' time. So that's kind of my purpose. And that's what I talked to the members there about. That's kind of really clear. In 40 years' time, when I'm not there, I want to know that it's still working. So put myself forward for director, got that. Just recently, I've taken on the role of chair on that board of directors as well, and working very closely with the other directors and the committee there to just secure that future. And with BN, I think British Naturism as an organisation has really given me that, I want to say comfort blanket, but I don't think the word sounds quite right. As a safety space of, I know there's somewhere I can go to, both for me individually and actually for the club, to be fair. It gives me that framework of the right way of doing things. Applying for the role of director at British Naturism, it was kind of quite an interesting journey over the last 6 months, really. It's not something I'd ever particularly thought about. But as I was spending more and more time on some of the more legal and financial stuff at club level, it kind of opened up a whole new awareness about some of the legal stuff around naturism and sort of how we have to manage that. And I think just a growing awareness and appreciation of the work that gets done by the volunteers at BN. And of course, alongside of all of this, I've got my friendship with you, Helen, that gave me an insight into kind of how British Naturism works and what some of the challenges are that you've had and some of the pluses that you've had too. And then this vacancy came up, I don't know, like October last year, and the conversation started in January this year. Read the role description, and this is like practically been written for me.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there was not a single thing in the role description that I couldn't say that I wouldn't be able to do that or have had experience in doing it. So, yeah, I put in the formal application, and I have to say it was a very robust process, quite a lot of hoops to jump through, let's say, like from DBS checks to conversations with people and meeting the other directors and then having to have their private conversations to make the decisions. So that it was very rigorous, the selection process, I would say, which pleased me. And kind of, I want to say that out loud because I think it's important for people to understand that they don't just pluck somebody into a role like that.
Right, exactly that.
Yeah, it's very, very well thought out. So literally the same week that I became chair of Ashdene, I became a director of British Naturism, literally within about 4 days of each other. So it was like,
Blimey, woman.
from 0 to 100 miles an hour, like in a week.
Do you know what? That happens. And similarly, that's what happened to me having started my naturism journey during lockdown. I don't know, 6 months later, I was the campaign coordinator for Women in Naturism, which elevated into the Women's Officer executive role. There wasn't a role like that on the board at first. So, it was with lots of campaigning, lots of conversation, lots of proving myself that happened. But my point is, when you and I and many other women experience naturism, the confidence it gives us, not only like physically, the confidence, But, we can make some changes. And what I say to people about the whole volunteering, why do you do it? The more you put in, the more you get out. And I don't like to hear people moaning about an organisation from far, far away when they don't do anything to change it. And so with more and more people like yourself coming forward, strong, intelligent, forward-thinking woman who's going to get stuff done, then we are delighted to have you on board, Steph.
Thank you. Thank you. I really hope to make a difference.
You will. But did you ever think when you came on that first holiday that you would be this quickly into a leadership role, both at the organisation for Naturism in the UK and then locally at your club? Did you think that would happen, or?
No, it has snowballed and it's quite interesting. So my career would tell you that that's the kind of thing that I do. But naturism was never part of my career, and it was a place to go and a pastime that satisfied this need for being in nature and appreciating the blue sky and green trees and grass under my feet. So it was my downtime for almost the first time in my life. And as a single woman, and I'd always been either married or in a relationship, raising children, everything. The first time in my life I had me time. My naturism experiences would just about the joy of being with other people or on my own, like really enjoying that. So it was like a separation from work and ambition and achievement. It was a complete separation from that. First time in my life, I just had proper downtime. And then I guess I'd get the curiosity and the asking people questions and then kind of, maybe I think it was probably somebody else that said, actually, Steph, you could really make a difference. This is at club level. I was like, really? And of course, it triggered in me that deep set thing like I had in my career, which was, I know that I can. And if I apply myself, I know stuff about running a business, for example. So I could do it. So then it's that merging of the downtime that was so special and important to me, and building friendships that weren't based on where I was working and the job that I was doing, to then kind of bring that together with a role with some responsibility. That's been interesting. But not the dilemma that I thought it might be. It actually hasn't, because when I'm either at the club or at Sunfolk or on the women's holiday or doing a naturist ramble, it still feels the same.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Total sense. That's exactly how I feel. You can still do your role, yet quite easily separate it to your usual downtimes. When I'm at an event, certain amount of networking, etc. But other than that, I'm just myself and, chilling and partying like the rest of them. Well, I can't keep up with the rest of them these days, but that's another story. So I just want to go back to the bit we mentioned about being a single woman within naturism. I guess a lot of listeners out there, the perception is, gosh, you're a single woman. You must have been very vulnerable to experience naturism on your own. Have you ever had anything iffy, dodgy, anything like that within the naturist environment?
Yes, I have. So at my club, and I imagine at lots of other clubs, safeguarding is really important. And we always know who is the go-to person that day. So if you've got any kind of odd feelings about somebody else will be there to keep an eye on things. And that's how it was dealt with. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have to give him a little bit. I wasn't in any danger.
You felt uncomfortable.
I just felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. There's a vibe.
With the other person's, just a couple of things they were saying, a couple of things they were doing. Mm-hmm. Nothing overtly sexual, but you just get a vibe. And I think for me, being aware of my instinct and listening to my intuition has kind of done me pretty well most of my life. So that's kind of what I lean on and rely on. And and knowing who the go-to person, who the safeguarding people are. Yeah. And it's just not tolerated. It is absolutely zero tolerance. And I think every single event or club or holiday or independent rambles, everyone that I've been on, I've always felt really safe.
Yeah, I used to refer to naturism as a whole as like a safe space. And that sounds counterintuitive, really, doesn't it? When you consider that you're naked, vulnerable technically, but it's a shared vulnerability. We're all the same. So with that comes this level of trust that's unspoken, but definitely there. And you're right that any sort of dodginess is called out and dealt with immediately, like there's zero tolerance. And that's reassuring as a woman.
I quite like the use of the word trust there when you said that, Helen, because I think that's one of the things that I've felt, that I feel and has developed massively over the last 3 years, is almost an assumption of trust. I don't think I even really think about it too much. It's just there. And the trust with, well, like, for example, going on the women's holidays, that's my first feeling on that first year, will they like me, is the trust that gets built, especially when there's a group of women together, that I'd never really experienced in my life. The trust that goes there and the stories that we're able to share and support each other, and the laughter and the tears and the real openness that everybody wants to share with each other can only come with that certain amount of trust.
100% agree with you. And I've not experienced that before either.
No. And it's not just the trust in it's not even a body appearance thing. I think it's like a psychological safety thing. I feel safe psychologically when I'm in a naturist environment, as well as physically.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel the same. And maybe a part of it is we are vulnerable without our clothes. You've got nothing to hide behind. You're your true, authentic self. So why not be authentic with your words and your thoughts and your stories? And being able to do that, knowing it stays within our group. You know, you're not going to get gossiped about half an hour later. At least that's the experience I found, is that I'm not going to get judged.
Yeah.
And I've not really experienced that before in any other sort of environment of people, let alone just women.
Yeah.
So it does suck you in, as it were, you know, because we enjoy it. We enjoy it so much that we're doing it again, and we're having new women come each time. But on top of that, we're building fantastic friendships. Aren't we?
Absolutely, 100%. It's the depth of those friendships that strikes me every time, how quickly women in a naturist environment can get that really deep sense of trust and safety with another woman that they've never met before. Look at what our experience was like.
Yeah.
It was like within 24 hours, we were like, how have we never met before? I guess it's that willingness to be open as well as accept everybody else for who they are. But like when you take off your clothes, you're kind of taking off your mask and the way you want the world to see you, and suddenly you take your clothes off and it's actually,
this is me.
I want the world to see me for who I am. Yeah.
Well, we've done a great job of verbalizing that. Until you experience it for yourself, it's hard to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we have experienced or witnessed other women's journeys into naturism, which is why I do what I do, to be a part of someone's journey of like really enjoying being themselves and stuff like that. What would you say to any women potentially listening to us now, thinking, oh, I love the fact, this all sounds great, but I couldn't do that. I haven't got the body. I haven't got the confidence. I can't imagine myself around a group of women. Neither could I, by the way, but yet here I am. What would you say to that sort of thought process?
Right. So there's a few responses I kind of have in my back pocket for when I meet women that are feeling like that. One is, why wait? Because the number of women that have said, oh, if I was a size 12, I might try it. And I'm like, but that means you might never try it, or it might be 10 years and you've lost maybe the best 10 years of naturist experience kind of thing. So I don't wait. The other thing is, what I learned really quickly, and I've never had a problem with nudity, but I did have a problem with self-esteem around body shape and whatever. One of the things I say to both men and women, to be fair, is once you've been in a naturist environment for, I don't know, even hours, you've pretty much seen every shape and size of boobs or no boobs, bellies, bums, and balls and dicks. Once you've seen, there's nothing that could surprise you once you get to a certain point. And it's like, actually, everybody's like me. Oh, gravity affects us all. There's the odd beautiful body, male and female, that is like absolutely perfect. You think, gosh, how have they done that? But that's a real tiny minority.
And it probably, in their mind, it wasn't as perfect as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the two main things. Like, don't miss the opportunity, just waiting until you feel like your body looks perfect, because 99% of people in a naturist environment, our bodies are just our bodies, and you don't notice it, and then you don't notice your own either, because you realise that we're all pretty much the same.
We're all real, it's real bodies that we're
Yeah.
seeing, real experiences,
Yeah.
real traumas we see, like you alluded to. We've seen mastectomy people, cancer survivors. We've seen people with stoma
Yeah.
bags, whatever. And no one bats an eyelid. It's just your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you learn with the whole thing of maintaining eye contact, which is kind of like the unwritten rule really of naturism, is like that its eye contact is really important. But you are aware, especially when you're new, you are aware of other people's bodies around you because it's human nature that we compare. But what the eye contact thing has done for me is actually helped me grow better quality relationships with other people, male and female, because you really focus on people's faces and what they're saying and listening, and the nakedness just gets forgotten.
Yeah, it becomes incidental, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so then we're having much better quality conversations because we're not talking about the colour of our handbag or that lovely dress that she's wearing or where does she get her underwear from or
Underwear?
because we're not talking about all of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it strips away all of that day-to-day mundane chit-chat about stuff outside of naturism kind of life and just leads to completely different quality of conversation, which is probably where the trust starts to build from.
Yeah.
So there's an equality between people when we have no clothes on. There's a greater equality that I've never really felt, again, in my life. Probably there's a much greater equality across ages as well. So it's not a gender thing, because I feel this with men in a naturist environment too, and I especially feel it with the age range. So I have the same quality relationship with the 20-somethings at my club as I do with the 80-somethings at my club. It's like that barrier gets broken down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to find the words because it's so deep inside. But when you get all that magic in the magic melting pot of everything that we've just talked about, and then you have a group of women, it just becomes more magical. And then we're giving that gift to women that haven't tried it before, and they feel what we're feeling, and very quickly.
Yeah, which leads us back round again to how we both first discovered naturism to now in leadership roles within naturism.
Yeah.
And, we're not the first. Like organisations like the Australian Federation has got a female president, New Zealand, female president, ANA, the American Association of Nude Recreation, female president. So women in leadership roles within naturism is on the rise. I was going to ask you, why do you think that is? But I think we know the answer is because we, one, get things done. Two, we want to share what we've experienced and help other women and people to come and experience what we're experiencing in a safe, non-judgmental, friendly, healthy environment. And for me, that's why I do it. What about yourself?
Oh, you captured it perfectly. Yeah, I think it's all that and more besides. I don't know how to... Naturism, I just want everyone to try it, to be fair, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel almost gladiatorial about it. It's kind of, I wish everyone would just try it once. And I reckon if everyone tried it once, 99% of them would be like, oh yeah, it's actually really good. And it feels great.
Yeah, and I reckon all politicians ought to give it a go. We'd sort this world out straight away.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing that has just come to mind on that is the one about perceptions and assumptions, both about naturism, but also about the vulnerabilities that we might all have or the attitudes that we have. We have presumptions about how other people might feel, and actually having the respect to take the time to learn that actually everybody isn't the same and every woman isn't necessarily got the body confidence issues, or they might have a different kind of issue. They might suffer from anxiety. Yes, there's something about breaking down that. Don't assume because we're women that means that we must have body confidence issues, for example. Equally, don't assume that blokes don't, because actually they do. So there's kind of that. There's room for us all in a naturist environment. But I think that's probably one of the things that's kind of stuck with me recently, is that don't make assumptions about other people. Well, here's the thing, right? Single female in a naturist environment. The assumption might have been that I was looking for a partner. Or that any single bloke within 10 feet of me would be potential prey. Or I might be potential prey for the single blokes because I'm a single woman. that kind of assumption from other people was something I had to kind of work through, that I wasn't there to find a mate. I was there because of naturism. That was my sole goal and focus. Well, it wasn't actually a goal and focus. I didn't really think about it, but I realised that I kind of had to tell my story and make people realise that I wasn't there for that. And since then, I was in a relationship last year where he wasn't a naturist, and then absolutely now 100% is. The relationship is no more, but he absolutely is a naturist. He came to the club with me a few times and was like, "How on earth have I never tried this before?"
Most people say that, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you talk about assumptions, I remember in reverse. So, not going to harp on about my story, but just very quickly that Simon was a naturist before we met. And in my head, I just thought that was weird. It must be sexual. It must be this. It must be that. And it wasn't until 5 years into our relationship or something like that, I actually agreed to go to this naturist resort and take part in this reverse life modeling thing where all the naked people were drawing the clothed me. But it wasn't until I actually got to this place that I realized how wrong I'd been. Nobody was objectifying me. Nobody was assuming sex, it wasn't even mentioned. Like, if you were thinking that way, then you were wrong. And so that was part of my epiphany. It was like, gosh, if I'm wrong about it, then so many other people are as well. Again, so it just confirms the assumptions that society places in all kinds of scenarios. And we shouldn't do that. We should just take it at face value and speak from experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So just to close up, Steph, so final thoughts. If you could picture yourself back in 23 or 24, when this was all new, in a few short words, can you describe your experience, what it has meant to you, and your hopes for the future within naturism?
So there's two words that came to me very, very quickly after my first couple of visits in a safe club environment, were the feeling of complete freedom and the feeling of absolute liberation. Being liberated of clothes liberated me as a human being. It was really, really powerful. And for the future of naturism, I think it's about sharing these stories, sharing our experiences and the feeling side of it, the emotional impact that it has on us. I think sharing that and being open about that with other women, especially in this environment, kind of opens that door for them that this is the kind of journey that you could have. And there's other women here that are going to hold your hand through that journey if you want it. The support that we will offer others. And you and I have done this personally on the ladies' holidays with brand new women to naturism, and knowing that other women are there to hold you up and hold your hand and be a shoulder to cry on if you need it. But we support each other. And I think that's what we have to keep on doing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Just be there. Be there.
Beautifully said. We're here to straighten each other's tiaras should they slip.
Because that's the only thing we wear.
But we always remember to carry our towels and sunscreen and sunglasses.
And our flip-flops.
And our money to buy wine.
Yeah.
And finally, Steph, before we go, one word to sum up your 3-year experience, just one word.
Joy.
Lovely. I love that. Well, Steph, thank you ever so much for coming in. I can't wait to work with you at British Naturism. If people want to know more about you, Steph, can they find you on Facebook or?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. You probably won't find very many naturist photos of me on there, but you'll find hints of it. LinkedIn, you'll absolutely find nothing about naturism, but you will find a lot about my background and my career and kind of what qualified me on the professional bit of joining the leadership team. And of course, on British Naturism itself, I'm not using an alias on there. My name is my profile, so you can find me easily on there, and always happy to connect with people there and have a chat. And for women in particular, if any women want to have a chat about my experiences and all the holidays, I would join the Women in Naturism Facebook group, because that's a really safe social media space for us to all get to know each other. So yeah, happy for people to reach out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Steph. It's been wonderful, and take care.
Thank you. Bye. See you soon.
Bye. See ya. Once again, a real big thanks to Steph. One, for coming on the podcast, and two, for stepping up into the director role with British Naturism. I'm very much excited and looking forward to working with Steph. I love the fact that more and more women are getting involved in leadership roles across the planet. Steph's story is such a powerful reminder that there isn't like a right time or a right body or a right level of confidence to begin exploring naturism. For her, it was something she felt compelled to do. Sometimes it just starts with a curiosity and grows into something far bigger than you can expect. From that first tentative step of joining a club to becoming director of British Naturism, Steph's journey really highlights what's possible when women are given the space to feel safe, supported, seen. And again, thank you, Steph. It's been such a joy to reflect on how far you've come. And if you're listening and something in this conversation has resonated with you, take that as your sign. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to take the first step. If you're not already a member of British Naturism, now's your chance to have a look and pick up the benefits. We've launched a Perks at Work scheme, so simply part of your membership will include access to the Perks at Work, which means you can get money off day-to-day things like grocery shopping or gym memberships, hotel stays, so your membership actually pays for itself in the end. There's more big news at British Naturism. We have launched a new shop with an iconic clothing range. Have a look at it. It's different, it's fresh, it's new. Sometimes we have to wear clothes, so why not embrace our naturism and combine the both? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, talk about it, shout about it. Tell everyone you know about it. Your engagement means a lot to us here at Women in Focus and indeed at British Naturism. You've been listening to Women in Focus. I've been your host, Helen Berryman, and I'll see you next time as we bring more Women in Focus.